I wanted to go over the event layout and how we kind of put things together, or how I put things together for FKTs, um, and things of that nature. I'm usually not too technical. I know, like my friend Keith Overbay, he was doing a race one time, like a 100 miler, and I mean, I shit you not, he had his heart rate in this condition, the elevation, what pace you should be right there and right there. This is such a big race or such a big run that you're you can't concentrate on those little things. You just kind of have to take the big picture and understand the distances that you need to do every day. And that's really what matters. You can get an idea of elevation if this is going to be a hard part or not, but I try to keep it pretty simple. So this sheet is me. Oh, sorry. So the background noise that you guys probably hear right now is me on a treadmill. I'm always on a treadmill. Anyways, so here's the sheet, and it's labeled event layout. And you'll see that the beginning point and this AS name stands for aid station. So the beginning one is Mount Katahdin. Distance from the start, 0. The next distance to the next aid station, which would be up Old Bridge, is 15.1 miles. So that's how far I have to go, right, from Mount Katahdin. Actually, if I'm starting at Katahdin Springs, I have to go 20 miles, but that's neither here nor there. 15 is what counts. So it goes over to Mount Katahdin. You'll notice each little link is a Google link, a drop pin essentially. And so what we do is we'll download Google Maps offline ahead of time. And so for each one of these links, we can click them no matter where we are on the East Coast. And even without cell service, we're able to get to where we need to go. Now, unfortunately, this thing is very, very liquid. And so it's one road could close down, a road could be blown out, specifically in Maine. You have these logging roads where all of a sudden, I remember Jack went down one last summer and the whole bridge had been blown out. So you can't predict. And so that can really cause an issue, right? Because as you guys can probably tell, distance to the next aid stations is 32 miles. Well, heck, that's 32 plus 15. That's a big distance. And so you kind of have to prepare for those things and think about those things as you go about this. So also it has the driving directions. So these are the drop pins. These are the driving directions from the previous aid station. So this is all just general good information to have. It's also very good information for the crew to have. Now the crew also has a book, and the book shows, I should have it up here. The book shows, basically it's the AT guide. It shows the elevation profile. So it's a really good, simple way to be like, hey, this next section, you're going to have to go through this, and point it to me while I'm at the aid station. Like, you're going to hit this mountain, and this mountain, and this mountain. And it's just like, okay, great. Doesn't really matter. It's still one foot in front of the other, but it's helpful to have. So these two things is mainly what I use and what my crew uses when attacking the AC. Now, Jack is a little old-fashioned. He just likes to use the book. But for me, this gives you a lot more detail, and it's all done for you. You don't have to go into the maps or anything like that. You can just click links and go. Again, where that gets hairy is when you're trying to go somewhere and Google thinks it's a road, or the road is blown out and it's not. So you really need both worlds. You have to check on here, you have to check on Google Online, and you have to check the maps. And that's really the best way to kind of do all this. And it gets hectic, as you can probably imagine, because you're trying to make the next spot, which, in some cases it can be 10 miles for me, but it could be a 2-hour drive for Jack, And so, like, this is a perfect example right here, this 2-hour right here that you guys see. Driving time to next aid station. Well, that's only like 15 miles for me, but that's a 2-hour drive for Jack. And then he's got to figure all that out and get through all the woods, and he has to pay these tolls. And so it gets very, very, very stressful. Another thing, distance from the end, just good information to have. Gain and loss on this particular section, and then notes. So you'll see over here, I kind of base it off Carl Metzer's time. So end of the day for Carl Metzer, he has Carl's, I've said this before, his pace was masterful. He did a really good job of laying everything out. He actually thinks that I shouldn't do 56 miles the first day, that I should kill it here and not at Joe Mary Road right here. But that's impossible. I'm going to have to try to keep up with them as much as I can. And so, yeah, that's kind of how we lay things out. It'll also have the end of day. So this is end of Carl's first day, end of his second day. I talk about potential opportunities, potential issues as well for my crew to view. Just things of that nature. And yeah, and so let me get the sheet. That's not going to let me go, is it? Let me see here. Hang on. Yeah, there we go. Now you also notice that I have tabs down here for each state. I've only gotten to Vermont so far, but each one is the same thing. So New Hampshire, have my notes. Vermont, have my notes, my questions, things I need to look up, and I need to finish this out within the next 3 months. Another important sheet that I have is the leader comparison sheet. So I have the distances of each day for Carl, who did it in 40 days, String Bean, and even though I'm not going against String Bean's time, it's good information to have to see where they had difficult. And then you have mine as well. So Jack will be entering this information as I go. And, maybe we give you guys access to this so that you can see it while we're doing the race. I think that would probably be a good idea. So you guys can have kind of a comparison of what's going on and how I'm festering up. So if I were to make a prediction, I would say I would be hanging with Carl until we get to New Hampshire probably, and then I'll probably start falling behind Carl, specifically right here in this area. It's just really hard, and Carl's a better mountain climber than I am. So, one thing that you'll notice, one person that I really take a lot of inspiration from is Jennifer Farr Davis and her approach to the trail. All she did was hiked it. And you'll see that her and Carl's distances are very close. Even sometimes, look right here. Look right here on the 23rd day. She has passed Carl Metzer on the 23rd day. And that's just by hiking. Run your own run, hike your own hike. And when you're watching this, you're going to see some days where Carl is ahead of me and I'm way behind Carl. And then you're going to see me pick it up as well if I'm going on. So that'll be interesting to watch. My inspiration has been Farr for sure. I loved her approach to it. She's gritty. She's my kind of a runner. So she had a lot of time on feet. Carl, he would get done, 14, 15 hours, and he would go sleep in a van. Whereas Jennifer slept a lot on the trail, had longer hours, but she got it done, and she got the record. Carell's kind of a combination of both of them. A lot of speed, like Carl, but he's gritty as well. So he is just an absolute fantastic runner. Good mindset, good headset. So that's the goal, right? To beat him. 41 days and some change. So we'll just have to see. And Carl Metzer's the southbound record, which is 46 days. So I got two opportunities here. I've switched Carell's days around right here, if you can probably see, to what it represents when if he were to go southbound. And so that's good information to have too. Just, okay, now I need to see if I'm keeping up with Carell just in general. And this will all be, information that I will need on the trail to pick it up or to slow it down if I need to. Hopefully it's speed it down. These are the averages. So this is Carl Metzer's average. And this is Carell's average, 52.28. And you also have String Beans as well, but these are the two I'm really focusing on. And I'll tell you what, the difference between 47 miles average a day and 52 miles average a day is, my wife said to me, she said, John, it's just, 5 more miles, you can do that. And at the end of the day, when you are dog tired and you've done 47 miles on the AT, back to back, back to back, back to back, 5 miles is a lifetime away. I promise you. Anyways, that's what I have for the sheet. If you guys have questions, please let me know. I'm going to have more updates this week. This is just kind of a general layout of how I put things together. And it's good for me just to have this visual for myself and put it all together. Even if I don't ever use this sheet on the AT, it's good information to have where I am going over each one of these locations in my head. I have to go through and I have to look at each location, look at the elevation of each location, and that kind of information, and look at the roads to get to it, look at which access road when I put these directions in. Some of them don't look good. And so I have to go back and rework it. It's really good just to go over step by step. Anybody who's attempting an FKT needs to go through each aid station, needs to look at what the crew is going through, and needs to give the information to that crew. It's also the crew's responsibility as well. That can help prepare you mentally for the hell to come. And that's all I got.